box eater, what does the scouter say of pitch's power level?
It's over 9,000!
What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right. That's not sustainable. Pitch, you gotta stop. Are you tired of trans voice tutorials that require either a linguistics degree or a sound engineering degree to even understand it? Would you like a tutorial that could be comprehended by literal 5-year-olds?
Well, here it is. Learn to change the voice from this
to this. How to trans voice pitch. The most requested video. I'm finally doing it. So you might be wondering, why did it take me so long to make a video about pitch if it was so in demand? Well, truth be told, compared to other trans voice techniques, pitch is not really as interesting or in-depth as a topic. But it's still important. So as a result, we're going to cover it today, because while you can't only do pitch, you still gotta do pitch in conjunction with the other techniques. So I repeat, after you enjoy this voice tutorial, please don't only do this technique, do it in conjunction with the other techniques. But don't skip this technique either. Unlike my other tutorials, how about I teach you the technique we're gonna do first, then I'll explain the theory around it. Sound good? Cool, let's go. So the best way I've found to teach pitch is similar to the way Undead Voice teaches pitch in her video, which is also great, by the way. The only real difference between my technique and Undead Voice's technique is just the sound we make, so just keep that in mind. I've just found greater success with changing the sound slightly. We love trial and error here. So humor me and imagine a bunch of warriors behind me about to charge into battle, and then I make like a da-da-da-da sound, right? When you make this da-da-da-da, it gives you a good indicator of how much higher your pitch should go. Now, if it still feels like it could go higher but a bit more comfortably, you just gotta stack it, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, that kind of thing, right? But do it in those little intervals to find a comfortable position. If you feel any strain in your throat, stop. Since we're already making this sound, we can then tag it with a sentence. In this case, I'm making it did you know? So you can go da-da-da-da, did you know? Doesn't feel high enough? All right, we'll just go a couple of times. Da-da-da-da, 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 did you know? That kind of thing. You get into a general ballpark. So if you master resonance in this video, for example, not that one, get that out of here. That one, if you don't do pitch alongside it, it'll probably sound like a stereotypical bad SpongeBob impression, which isn't really the ballpark we're going for, now is it? Even when you're learning, you should not feel tension or stress in your throat, okay? This is a YouTube video, not professional speech pathology. I can't make you sign a waiver, okay? Please don't hurt yourself.
Increasing the pitch is all well and good and all, but if you go too high, you won't be able to sustain the voice and you'll probably pass out.
I'm okay. If we increase our pitch too much, no one's gonna hear us at the party. And if no one around us can hear us speak, then what's the point of voice training? Now's the part of the video where we talk about the app Voice Tools. Don't worry, this isn't a sponsor. I can dig on it all I want. So this app's popular. Really popular, okay? So essentially it shows your pitch on this graph here, but represents each bit of pitch in these color-coded boxes, which, you know, lowers the barrier of entry of knowing what rough pitch range is considered masculine, feminine, or androgynous, which just means in between. The issue comes where if you rely on this too much to determine your progress, 1, you'll stagnate a bit, B, you're probably going to talk so high you are going to hurt your throat. Just because the pink box goes all the way up there does not mean you have to go to the very top of the pink box, okay? Most cis women talk in like the lower section of this pink box, and some, believe it or not, are even in the androgynous zone. Talking in the androgynous zone will not make you sound masculine. That's not how androgyny works. There's a lot of factors in trans voice that shape the gender perception. If your voice is in the blue box, don't view that as a be-all end-all of how your voice is going to be gendered. There's no objective way to view how masculine or feminine you or I sound. It depends heavily on who you're talking to, the culture they're in, the social experience they have, that sort of thing. So just keep that in mind when, you know, accounting for what you see in this app. I'd say in the past there was a misconception that trans voice is purely only pitch. That's why older trans voice tutorials hyper-emphasize how much pitch is not needed. But we've accidentally caused a thing where now we think pitch is completely unimportant. Think of pitch as that really overrated movie that your friends say are absolute cinema, but they're ignoring all these other movies that you like that are a bit underrated. View trans voice techniques as all-encompassing, they're all important, they all work together. We just want all the techniques to be acknowledged, and so we talk about pitch in a bit of a strange way. So just keep that in mind.
I take it you don't have a ticket?
There's also other ways pitch can help us, but this is technically prosody.
Prosto what
So
now?
for anyone that was raised with the expectation they would
Become a man.
there's a couple of little social habits that have intertwined into our speech. If we want to speak more femme, we have to undo these. For example, observe how I say this sentence in a masculine and feminine voice, and pay attention specifically to the end of the sentence.
This is a sentence.
This is a sentence. This is a sentence. So that third one is considerably more femme. The second one is pretty femme, but then there's a bit of a dip at the end, which is an over-exaggeration of what's going on in that first one. Essentially, when you do voice training, you're gonna notice your voice will probably do this at least once. You'll feel like a sudden drop, like you're on a roller coaster, right? We have to undo this, and there's a couple of ways we can do that, and this is my favorite way. Essentially, when you do a sentence, try to extend it a little longer to make the sentence, well, longer. This sounds like this. This is a sentence. Yeah, that's super exaggerated. No one talks like that. But every time you do that sentence, try to then slowly chop it down until it sounds more natural. This is a sentence. This is a sentence. This is a sentence. Like that, right? This way you'll avoid that dip at the end, and you'll find the sweet spot of where it sounds natural intonation-wise. Feminine pitches tend to flick up a little bit at the end of a sentence. That's what we're trying to replicate here. You know when you ask a question like, is that good? And our pitch like bounces up? We're replicating that, but slightly less exaggerated. You can do a similar thing, like we did before, but with this rising intonation. This is good? This is good. The first one sounds way more unsure because we're doing that rising intonation as if we're asking a question. We need to cut it down a little bit so we sound more sure of ourselves. Otherwise, that speech at school will be pretty rough. In this speech, I'll explain why dinosaurs are cool, I think. Another thing to note, the voice kind of jumps up and down a little bit with femme voices,
As opposed to a masculine voice being a bit monotone. So if I had the little bit of jumping up and down with the mask voice, it'd sound a bit all over the place.
That's kind of what we're doing with the femme voice. We're kind of going up and down and then up and then down and up and then down and up and then down. So when I speak, you'll hear the slight little jumps and jumps and jumps and that kind of thing. The best way to learn this specifically is mostly to copy and shadow other people speaking. When doing this, copy someone that has an accent similar to you or an accent that you would like. I did this with trans voice lessons when I started out, and it Americanized my accent. How many Australia-themed videos do I have to make before people believe me? To recap everything in this video in a couple of seconds, when we want to raise our pitch, we want to da-da-da-da, you know? Like that to get to a comfortable pitch. Don't go too high or you'll hurt yourself. Be wary of the little dip that will happen at the end of a sentence. You can circumvent this by making the sentence a little longer, then slowly cut it down. Like, this is a sentence, this is a sentence, this is a sentence. Like that. Also, you can try to have a slight rise in intonation to make it sound more femme. In addition, you can try to copy voices to get that slight little bounciness to it. And that was the long-awaited pitch voice tutorial. I know it took me quite a while. A very long time. And then this is a highly requested one. Truth be told, there's not that much sauce that I could put in this one as it's not the most interesting topic, so I decided to tag on some extra little intonation stuff to hopefully make the tutorial more fun and enjoyable and give you more to work with and tinker with. I hope this tutorial is helpful. I know this will probably be one of the more popular voice tutorials I do just because of the topic, but I encourage you to check out voice tutorials of all sorts of techniques throughout the journey. Though do it one by one, don't rush into too many at once, whether that are videos from me or other people. Just bear in mind that I also do trans voice lessons on Patreon if you are interested in joining that and getting one-on-one lessons with me, and maybe group lessons if I ever open those back up again by the time you're seeing this video. Check the Patreon and see. Just note, my slots are usually full. It's actually pretty rare for a slot to be open. I won't lie to you. Once I get a student, they stay for quite a while. And that warms my heart that I've done lessons good enough that people want to stay. That makes me happy. Just bear in mind, I'm not a company like Seattle Voice Lab or Trans Voice Lessons. I'm just one little goober in Australia that's just doing her best. I'm just a YouTuber that has a Patreon where you can learn trans voice with the techniques I used in my journey. Simply put. Because my income is not as directly tied to voice lessons per se, I can kind of put all the information in the videos and not need to withhold anything. So I hope as a result it makes the voice tutorials more helpful and easy to learn. So I won't sugarcoat it. Voice training is hard. And it's okay if when you do this, it doesn't work straight away. It's okay if it takes a week and it's still not working. It's okay if you've done voice training for a couple of years and you're not really getting anywhere, right? Voice training progress is not linear and different people will get it at different speeds. Don't view that as an indication of your skill or worthiness to have a girl voice, if that makes sense. The rough thing is, like, if you play an instrument poorly, you don't view that as a reflection of you because it's not really your body. You're just using a guitar, for example, as an extension of your body. But if you do a trans voice technique wrong, then you can feel really bad about yourself because the voice is part of your body. All these little muscles and bones are part of our body. So it's okay if you feel really upset when this stuff doesn't work straight away. I know personally, and I've shared this anecdote a few times, when I was starting my voice training journey, I remember staring at a brick wall for a couple of hours, saying heat from fire, fire from heat, repetitively. I did it until I cried. You just gotta practice in tiny little chunks rather than a really long gauntlet in front of a brick wall. If it means anything, I had a lot of trouble early on. It was kind of the thing that I did last, really, with my transition. It was always the part I was bad at, if that makes sense. I got invalidated quite a lot because I couldn't do it. I could, dress femme, go to the shops, that kind of thing.
But then my voice was this, right?
I was told constantly, oh, you can't do a trans voice, you can't sound like a girl ever. That kind of nonsense, right? If you're able to articulate sentences in any capacity, you can do trans voice, It's not a thing locked off to certain people. So if you have those moments where you feel like you can't do it or you feel like it's not worth it, you can't get out of bed to voice train, just know that so many of us feel that way. And videos like these can't instantly fix that, but it can give you the tools in order to do that. I'm trying my best. I'll admit that I was given this position in the trans voice space very abruptly. I'm still adapting to it. And I'm still learning lots. There's a couple of mistakes in some of the older videos, for example, that I've since corrected. And even the newer updated ones have some things I'd like to correct someday. So I acknowledge these voice tutorials are not perfect in any capacity, and they don't substitute seeing a professional speech pathologist. But I hope it makes this information more accessible, and I hope it gives you a good starting point, or even a good end point. If this video helps you get started, let me know. If you voice train and get to a spot you feel good at and you use the videos, feel free to come back and let me know. It really warms my heart when some of the older videos I get comments saying that it helped people a lot. I have a giant manifestation of Pitch going Super Saiyan that is gonna cause a lot of damage if I don't do anything about that. So I'm gonna go sort that, but you get practicing, okay? Tiny little sessions throughout the day, and being hydrated and believing in yourself. Believe in yourself. You can do it, okay? Okay. As always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.
3 hours later.
Well, Pitch, I finally made the pitch tutorial as I promised. Now there's no more loose ends and I can make whatever videos I want. What?